All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Comics on Mode. Oh, hold on. I can't turn this music off, apparently. There we go.
I like the music. It's good choice.
Do you hear that
Also,
in the background?
graphic. That graphic is dope. No, I don't hear anything.
I've got some audio.
Like your fan on or something?
No,
I hear
there's like a. It's like
hey, you got roommates now.
Oh no, I haven't.
Somebody jamming in the house right now.
I know. I have a freaking. I had a tab
open.
You
got a rogue tab open, maybe.
Yeah, that's what happened. I had us up on YouTube, and it wasn't, the volume wasn't turned off.
Wasn't muted.
Yeah.
I should do that.
Hold on.
In typical Comics a la Mode fashion, I was like watching trailers before we went live to refresh myself. So we don't want to hear Godzilla roar in the middle of our stream right now. So let me mute this. All right, we good.
Fan.
We're good, and we're live.
We're live,
Amazing.
guys. We're live. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yes. Hello. Welcome to an episode of Comics a la Mode, the podcast where we just talk about comics, I guess, and movies.
Well, it used to be that. Now it's more
and movies everything. And TV and a little bit of everything.
We've expanded. That's for sure.
It's the podcast where we like to have fun.
That's certainly the truth.
A lot is going on this week, folks. Like we said, this is the first official because it has the episode numbering. It has the episode numbering, folks. The first official. We're back on Comics a la Mode. And so there's a lot of news. We're gonna kind of run through the first segment, which we're gonna kind of talk about what we've been watching. Landon, why don't you start us off, brother?
Oh, cool. All right. So we got like this little document page, right? We got to keep track. If you caught our stream last week, it was all about like, we're trying to rebuild this thing. We're trying to do things a little bit differently. So we are a little bit more organized than we were.
Form and function, folks. Form and function.
Form and function is the name of the game. So we do have our bullet points out. We're going to be hitting these topics, just talking about things. And the first thing that we kind of wanted to talk about was, I'm actually going to throw it back to you, Russ, because I know you're super jazzed about Starfield right now.
Okay. So yeah.
About Starfield.
So we talked about a little bit about like my initial thoughts with Starfield when last week on the tech test. But
it was a tech test, but we did talk a little bit. Starfield
I did roll credits. Now some of you are thinking, wait, they literally said that this was a 1,000-hour game. Like, there's people who literally said that like I've sunk 500 hours into this game and I haven't even finished it. That's correct. That's still correct. But I had been reading online as I was playing, and I saw an article that said why you're playing Starfield wrong. And I'm like, okay, why? Why am I playing Starfield wrong? And what they said was that you need to force yourself through the main story the first time you go around. Don't get caught up doing side quests. Don't do it. Just focus on the main story and
focus on campaign first.
And they said, they were like, there's a reason for this. So I was like, fine, you know what? I did a lot of exploring outside of it, but I stuck pretty close to the main campaign. We talked about last week too that I tend to, with RPGs, focus mainlining campaigns. So it wasn't that hard to get me back on track and do that. I rolled credits, and I have to say, when I said that it was a lot like Oblivion, it gets even more like Oblivion, but it also then is Interstellar.
The Tom Cruise movie, not the video game. I think there's a video game also titled Oblivion or something.
Yes, it's an old Elder Scrolls. So I'm talking about the Tom Cruise space film.
Which I have not seen, but I hear is cool. Like Morgan Freeman's in it. It's great.
Yes, it's very much like both of those. Essentially, it's been a week and a half, so everybody, spoilers, just so you know.
Spoilers for Oblivion, which came out in like 2013. But
no, not even spoilers for Oblivion, but spoilers for Starfield.
Hey, shout out Nathaniel Lee too in the YouTube chat. What up,
Nathaniel? What's up, dude? Oh, I see comments. Let's see. Hold on. I gotta pull this up.
That's exciting.
Go.
That's a new thing for us. So
yes, we love it. We love it. So minor spoilers for Starfield. You essentially in defeating the villain, which hilariously enough, I didn't even have to fight the villain. I was able to talk my way out of them trying to kill me. And so I literally ended the game by persuasion, like persuading them to
you
just
put all his stats into persuasion.
I literally just persuaded
Trickery.
them to let me finish the game. Is essentially what I did. Good. And essentially,
hey, just let me beat you right now. It's okay. It's fine.
Well, it's funny because essentially what happens is by beating the game, you become a quote unquote starborn, or literally the people that you're going up against. So then you roll credits. It takes you back to the main. It's called the lodge. It's like there. That's the main space.
It's like the hub world, the lodge.
Yeah. Well, it's the hub building. It's where this constellation group that you become a part of is based.
All right. Okay.
And there's two options when you start. It literally like takes you back, and it almost restarts how you are introduced to them. And then you get two options. You can either fake it and act like exactly how you did the very first time you ever played, or you can essentially just be like, hey, there's those artifacts or the things that you guys are looking for. They're tied to the Starborn. I'm a Starborn now, and I'm going to help you guys get them.
Nice.
So
right off the bat, I gotta say, when you say Starborn, my mind is going to Starbrand, which is like that Marvel hero. That
I kid you not. I kid you not. It's kind of
the Jonathan Hickman character.
Dude, it's kind of that though. Like
is it Starbrand? He's like a young kid or something. I don't know.
It's kind of like that.
Kind of cool. Kind of cool.
But then the other cool thing is like each playthrough you get a new suit, so you get a new like Starborn.
I love that.
Suit.
I love the customization of RPGs.
That gives you a cool option. So like all I'm saying is if you're playing Starfield, mainline the campaign a couple of times and then go back because
how long did the main campaign take you, and like did you like it? Because
I loved the main campaign.
Two people watching, I'm not playing Starfield. I can't play it. All I have is an Xbox One, and it's a next gen console thing. So
I loved the campaign.
That's good.
I really did. And to the point that when I restarted and got to the point where I'm like, hey, this is essentially going to be me replaying the campaign, I was like, I'm kind of down. Like the only reason I didn't do it was because I had friends that were like, can you please, now that you've finished this game, play COD
with us? Time to do side missions. Let's go.
Yeah, can you please? Like, and that's the crazy thing is like it's crazy. So great, really good. I heard you've been watching TV, which I've also been doing. Let's just say, if y'all have not seen Ted Lasso, I'm not going to go into it, but you need to watch Ted Lasso. I got hooked.
I know it's on the list, man. Everybody's
I got hooked. There's so much.
I heard that. Who's the lead in that? It's Jason Sudeikis, right? He's Ted Lasso.
Yes, he's so good.
I heard an interesting rumor. We'll get back on track here in a second, folks. But I heard an interesting rumor that whoever was doing the Blue Beetle Booster Gold thing project that's been on the docket for a while, whoever that was, I forget who the showrunner's name was, but he wanted Jason Sudeikis to be Ted Cord, and I want that. That's actually I want that cool idea.
I want that so.
He's
badly.
Great. He's great. I just checked out We're the Millers on Netflix. Super funny, and he's just good. Sudeikis is a talent. It's always those comedic actors who could do both, right? He's the super dramatic roles, but also the super funny stuff.
True.
Speaking of drama, though, man, I have been hitting Peaky Blinders hard on Netflix. I just, I was doing laundry. I'm in a new place right off the bat. Like,
Right.
if you see the background, it's different than our last episode when we were doing this. I moved, so I actually have a washer dryer in my unit now. So I've been doing laundry like crazy, just whenever I want, which is
Nice.
cool. And I put on Peaky just to have something on. And I started at season 2 because I don't really remember anything from season 1 other than like Tommy Shelby like murders the villain at the end. But season 2 was incredible because it introduces Alfie Solomons, played by Tom Hardy.
Yep.
The Peaky Blinders are trying to butt in on the London turf, like get in that realm of criminals. And Alfie Solomons, man, is so good. And the rivalry that Sabini and Alfie Solomons have, and Tommy's in the middle trying to maneuver his way around. It also, season 2 of Peaky Blinders also has one of my favorite episodes of television ever, which is it's episode 6, which is the finale of episode 2, where they go to the Derby, like this big horse race. All the main characters are there, your heroes, your villains, everybody's there. And a lot of stuff goes down, and you just learn things, and stuff happens. Characters are making decisions, which is critical when you're moving the plot along. I mean, just a great episode of television. And I'm now on, I think, midway through season 3 at this point, and it's still as good as ever. Tommy and the Blinders, they're fighting the Russians now. They're going to war with the Russians, and the Russians are crazy. Not a show that you should enter lightly, because there's like 6 seasons. It's a hefty show, and there's a lot of like adult themes.
I started it. I started it.
So good. And Cillian Murphy, man, wow, that's what really put him on the map, I feel like. And
it's quite the
for the less cultured, I guess, but
quite
yeah, he's just shot in the stratosphere, man. I love how Cillian's doing. He's a great actor.
Nice.
Yeah, that pretty much does it. That's all I'm watching.
Yeah,
reading.
There's, I read a couple comics. Spider-Man is pretty interesting right now. It's Kraven the Hunter is back, and the the Red Goblin Queen, which is a new character that was developed like last year. She is teamed up with him. They've imbued Kraven's spear with all of Norman Osborn's sins as the Goblin.
Oh, yeah, that kind of harkens back to Sin Eater, Harry Osborn kind of stuff.
Their plan is to stab him so that he becomes the Goblin again, and then have Kraven kill him, because to Kraven, the Goblin is
the ultimate hunt.
Is the ultimate hunt, because he's been such a pain in the ass of Spider-Man, essentially.
Yeah. I actually did. I saw a panel posted on Twitter or something, or X.
Yeah. So the problem is that he goes to stab Norman Osborn. Spider-Man jumps in the way, and now Spider-Man is now imbued with all of the horribleness of Norman Osborn. So it's very interesting, because now we have you have Spider-Man with all of these hateful thoughts as the Goblin. He's now pulled out his black suit again, and now he's the one hunting Kraven.
Dope.
So
I love that.
That's kind of cool.
Actually.
But
I stopped reading the Spidey run because of it just got weird, like Paul. What's Paul's status with MJ? Is he still around? Did he die?
No, that whole thing ended up
still there.
Paul's dead. The kids.
Okay, cool.
Excuse me. The kids were not real. They were a figment of another dimension.
Is it Mephisto again? Is he
Mephisto? No, it wasn't Mephisto. It was different. Cool. It was something else.
We don't need one.
It was just thankfully, we moved past it. Cool. It was weird. But let's move on to Let's move on to some news. First up on the docket is, of course, so there was something that I saw literally yesterday, before everything came out today, was that Aquaman, it felt like Aquaman, there was a report that WB had lost Aquaman on the servers, and they couldn't find
the servers, right? It was a real Toy Story 2 situation, but they didn't have
not sure how accurate that was. But it was funny because that happened yesterday, and then today we get a teaser trailer for Aquaman and the Lost City,
Yeah.
that it's supposed to come out on Thursday. I've seen this all over Twitter. People are like, dude, just can it. Just do
At this
like
point,
give it
really
the
doesn't
Batgirl,
mean much.
give it the Batgirl effect, and let's move on. And I'm kind of there. I think the problem right now is they're not going to make any money off of this movie, because anything that is not what's his name, James Gunn,
Jason Momoa
is not anything that's not under James Gunn new directive is not going to make money. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So
I don't think I kind of agree. I have to agree with you. There is a stark disinterest in old DC projects now that everything has been canned and like none of this story really matters anymore. I still think there's something to be said that a movie should still stand on its own, and if it tells a decent story and has good enough effects and action and acting, it should stand on its own 2 feet. Like give it a chance, but still, general audiences probably don't even know this movie exists, which is odd because it comes out in December. It's got a December 20th release date, and we are only now like
gonna be seeing the first trailer.
Anything about it. That's bad. That's just bad. I don't think this will do as bad as Flash did, because that movie is like an abomination. That movie is just so Frankenstein together. I don't think this will be as bad.
Wait, hold on. I thought you said you liked Flash. Back up. I thought your initial response to Flash was, hey, it was actually pretty good. It was actually okay.
You know what? In the moment, I rewatched it recently.
Okay.
Because it got put on.
I'm not gonna hold you too hard, but
it got put on Max. No, well, I actually fell asleep in there somewhere. I don't blame. It's so.
I have not watched
like
it
I said, Frankenstein together. There's just you latch onto one aspect of the Flash, and then it totally pivots in a different direction. He's putting babies in microwaves, but then Batman's giving him like a really heart-to-heart conversation. It's just so wild, and I don't think
the clip of him not going after to save the baby and just going to the fridge and eating food before he goes and grabs the baby is so out of pocket.
It's such a wild scene.
It's such a what? Excuse me?
And then Wonder Woman shows up, and it's like, oh,
goodness gracious,
what are we doing? Reboot all of this, please. End the suffering. Ezra Miller. I could go into many thoughts about Flash.
We could both talk about how Ezra Miller was the dumbest idea for the Flash that anyone has ever decided on casting. And I swear,
it was weird casting.
The sad part is there's a lot of Zack Snyder's universe that I agree with a lot of his stuff. But his casting of Ezra Miller was the dumbest decision on the planet, and his idea that freaking Dick Grayson was going to be the Robin that died. Shame on you!
Shame on you, Zack Snyder. Last point about the Flash, real quick, is Ezra Miller was a interesting choice. I don't necessarily think he's who I'd go to for Barry Allen's Flash. But within the realm of Snyder's world, like if you watch Man of Steel into Batman v Superman into Justice League, I kind of see how he melds into that world. But any Machete and whatever DC was doing, Ezra Miller just doesn't fit into that equation, and then is a glaringly bad casting as opposed to being interesting like in Snyder's world. But anyways, the only real thing I'm excited about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the villain lineup, because I think Patrick Wilson's Orm, the Ocean Master, was incredible in Aquaman 1. One of the best.
I love Aquaman. I actually really like Aquaman 1.
Yeah, Aquaman's pretty cool, actually. I think it kind of goes places a little too quickly and just kind of gives us everything at once. I'm like, hey, slow down, War of the Seven Kingdoms. We're here already to chill. But I also love Black Manta, and he's back with a vengeance. He's coming after Arthur Curry, and he's coming for blood, and I like that. I think that's the coolest aspect of this film.
True. We got a couple other trailers, too. We got Loki Season 2, and as I told Landon before, I didn't even realize this thing is coming out that soon. I do not care about Loki. The first season was fine. Whatever.
Does that have anything to do with the fact that Jonathan Majors has been so sidelined at this point? It's like, why are we hyped for Kang?
No, I don't even.
No, okay.
like
Fair.
it's not, it really it has nothing to do with Jonathan Majors. It has everything to do with Loki. I don't
You're sick of
like.
him.
It's not that I'm sick of him. I don't like this version of Loki that hasn't had all of the experience that we had in the Avengers, in Thor, in Endgame, and all of that. I don't care. At this
Loki's
point,
story
it's like,
died at
yeah, at this
Infinity
point,
War.
when he died, like when he died, it was like, okay, well, if he comes back, fine. But this time displaced version, I hate. I don't like it. It makes him. I just don't like it because I never liked that version of Loki. Anyways, I like the version of Loki that's kind of an anti-hero.
Right.
Like,
If you can't get on board with the core concept, which is, hey, Loki's back and he's doing time shenanigans, there's not much here else for you.
That being said, a trailer that I got very hyped about is Monarch. And I'm
very excited for that too. Legacy of the Monsters.
Legacy of the Monsters. It is essentially a prequel / sequel. And it follows Kurt Russell as I guess the founder of Monarch, which is the
Russell
global
Boys,
which is the global company that knows about these about the kaiju and is essentially
essentially like, Shield, but for the Universal monsters.
Exactly.
For the Toho monsters. Sorry.
The part that I love about this trailer, the story in this trailer, I'm very fascinated, very interested in. I think it's going to be great. The part that I love is that with so many Disney films coming out and de-aging everybody, this show didn't do that. Thank God. What it did,
very cool actually.
Instead, what it did is it hired Kurt Russell's son as his younger counterpart, which is such a cool idea.
Great. I think that's awesome. Making use of the Nepo babies.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's going to be
perfect,
dope.
Honestly.
I love that. I've really loved that franchise so far. I think it's going to be fun.
And who doesn't love Kurt Russell as the lead? The man still got it. Like, I rewatched the Guardian films this summer. He's great as Ego. Yes, amazing villain, amazing character. He's still got it. He's a great actor. And I was very impressed with how Wyatt Russell also took on the role of U.S. agent. What was his name?
Yeah,
John.
For how crappy they wrote that show, he does a great job.
John looking Walker. Strong, John, when he's getting his butt kicked by the Wakanda Warriors or whatever.
Yeah, John Walker.
Anyways,
U.S.
John agent. Walker, that's the one. U.S. agent. Thunderbolts is coming, baby. I think this looks cool. I like the fact that it's kind of mysterious. This Monarch is a shady organization. There's been 3 films in the Toho monster, the legendary pictures.
Yes.
There's the Godzilla film, which had Bryan Cranston for like 2 seconds. I hate that. King of the Monsters, right. And then Godzilla versus Kong. Like that's the 3, right? So this is in that world. This takes place before, during, and maybe after, which is also cool. It's like really playing on the legacy title, right?
I'm very interested to see the creation of Monarch, especially
Kong Skull Island is in there too. There's 4.
Yes. Especially
that's where Monarch started,
especially seeing the legacy of Kong Skull Island, because that is still my favorite of this universe. It's such a great movie.
It gets better with every watch too. It's one of those rare films that just gets better.
It's also one of those. It's also one of the rare films where Brie Larson actually somehow knows how to act. So
yeah, you're right. She's in that, and Loki's in that too. I think Hiddleston is kind of a weird choice for that.
If y'all don't know, I dislike Brie Larson with a burning passion.
Yeah, she ain't my favorite either.
I don't think she knows how to act. Just so we're clear.
Depends on the project, but I think Hiddleston was kind of a strange choice for the lead because they were clearly going for like a Nathan Drake, Indiana Jones adventurer type, and Hiddleston I don't really think he has that energy. He's still great, but
I think it worked for that. I didn't.
Do you think?
What? Sorry. I think if they would have cast somebody else, he would have felt too much like Indiana Jones. And in this
Maybe.
case, he felt less like Indiana Jones and something like his own type of character. So that
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
Do you think there's a possibility that, I mean, we saw John Goodman's character from Kong Skull Island in this. Do you think we'll get some cameos? Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Bryan
I don't.
Cranston, Aaron
I
Taylor,
think
any of those guys?
I think if we get any of that, it's going to be like found footage
Mm,
from the other movies. Like I don't think it's going to be like new
yeah.
footage, like where these guys are
Sure.
coming in and recording. But I do think it might be like because like all the Goodman stuff kind of that actually looks like new footage, but they're using it in a way that looks like he's rolling tapes to like watch
And it
their
might cover up
scientific
some of that
stuff.
wonky de-aging tech that's been around. If you're trying to de-age Goodman a little bit, just put some film grain on it, and boom,
Oh
you got
yeah,
yourself like an old piece of tape
true.
that they're discovering or whatever. I think
Very true.
those looks great,
Yeah.
honestly. And Loki, you're not excited for it. I almost immediately forgot about the trailer when it dropped. I still love the first season of Loki. I'm just kind of confused about what Loki season 2 is, especially now that Kang is maybe or maybe not in the picture anymore. Who knows? It just kind of looks like a repeat of what we did last season. I'm really going to have to see something interesting right from the get-go to really be on board with this. But I like the Loki character. I don't know. It is what it is. I think I'm more excited for Monarch Legacy of the Monsters, in all
Oh
honesty.
yeah.
And then obviously Aquaman's way at the bottom of the ocean on that one. Interesting stuff coming out. It'll be cool.
Yeah,
The
one of
writer's
the
strike still
interesting
going on, so whatever we can get at this point.
one of the interesting ones that just came out too, and I'm looking up the director. I guess the director is Jeff Nichols, and I don't know what he's done.
No idea.
Oh, it looks like he's done. Oh, he did Mud.
Oh,
It's
that was
called
a Nick Cage project, yeah.
no. All right. What's that?
Oh, Matthew McConaughey.
It's McConaughey. Yeah.
Oh
Um,
yeah, you're right. You're right. What am
but
I thinking of with Nick
he
Cage?
he's directing this movie called The Bike Riders, and it has Tom Hardy and it has Austin Butler. And as someone who has probably rewatched the Elvis film like 4 or 5 times, actually up to 10
Really?
times at this point, just because Austin Butler's performance
Hey,
in that is so good.
it was
I'm
good.
I'm very interested in this movie because it's got Tom Hardy, it has Austin Butler. It's about a bunch of bikers, which is very in my zone as a Sons of
Sons of
Anarchy fan.
Anarchy.
So I'm very interested in that. But let's
Are you a
get
Sons of Anarchy
to
guy? Did you watch that?
oh yes. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
you look like you would watch that
Yes.
show.
Which is also why I started Peaky Blinders and am going to get into that show because it feels like a very old school 19th century like version. Like it's
Cool.
the Sons of Anarchy of its time, and I think that's really cool. Very very Godfather, like that kind of that mob-esque.
It is a criminal kind of show. There's a lot of that cool stuff going on.
Yeah. Okay, let's get in to why the reason I named this episode "Let's Talk One Piece,"
and the big meat of this episode is
because we talked about this last week that everybody was raving about One Piece, and neither of us had watched it, and neither of us we were in a very weird space where we were like, yeah, that's probably going to be on a list somewhere, but like I don't know if I'm very focused on watching it right now. So then
we agreed to watch.
So we agreed to watch. We agreed to watch the first couple episodes. I know you only watched the first episode.
Just a little taste. I wouldn't say raving. For me, I wouldn't say raving, but I just seen some stuff about it and it looked weird and interesting, and I'll check out an episode. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I watched the first.
I want to check out more. I will probably watch episode 2 at some point.
Yeah, so I watched the first 2. So I'm gonna let you take the wheel on this one and give your thoughts because this is the reason we wanted to do this too, folks, is because Landon is not an anime fan.
No.
He's not an anime fan. And it's funny because I just recently became an anime fan.
How recently? Like this year, last year?
Like it's been 2-3 years now.
Okay. What'd you check out first? I'm curious, real quick.
So my buddy got me
gateway?
hooked on Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan was the first one that I checked out.
That's the one that I would be most interested in as well. If I were to start anywhere, it would be there probably.
The way I like to Attack on Titan is the Walking Dead of anime.
Say less. I was so into Walking Dead.
And the more I watch that show, the more I totally believe that. It is still
going too, right?
It is still my favorite show. We're coming up on the final season, which releases in October. So I may start ranting and raving more about anime sooner rather than later.
I dig that. That's cool.
But it's wild. So
we're here to talk about One Piece.
Attack on Titan was my first, and then I did Demon Slayer, and then My Hero. My Hero is essentially the Avengers Academy of anime. But cool. I have never checked out One Piece, and there's a specific reason for that. But I will get into that after.
Let me guess. Is it because you're not into like the pirate genre, or because that's a big deal for the One Piece world? It's all pirates.
Because it's all pirates. It's all pirates. I love pirates. And like your notes say it. One Piece very specifically goes, we are embracing the absolute weirdness of anime.
Oh yeah.
Like fully. And like that's one thing, giving credit to this show. This show is really embracing that on the live action side, which I love, and that's also why fans are so excited about this show, because at the end of the day, they're being faithful to the source material. Like I've been seeing on TikTok like shot for shot from the show to literally the episode in the anime where that scene happens, and it's shot for shot pieced out. But
that's cool. Hey, if you're watching this episode and you're a fan of the One Piece anime, let us know. I got a couple people I know that are like super into anime and probably love this because it does look so faithful to what One Piece is as an anime. And I think coming from somebody who doesn't know that field, that genre, that medium for entertainment, right? I'm not an anime fan. I've never dabbled in it. I know the franchises. I hear things, Attack on Titan, One Piece, all that stuff. But it's wacky, and the translation from the cartoonish anime prospects into the live action stuff it takes a little bit to get used to. And Netflix distributed this. All 8 episodes of this season are out. Like you can watch it in its entirety if you want. And I kind of was on the fence for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then I was like, you know what? I kind of think this is a lot of fun. I kind of like the campiness of it. The characters are all just dialed up to 11. Like whatever their thing is, they are that to like the 15th degree, like Luffy, the only character whose name I know. I apologize to our anime fans.
I don't know any of the characters either. I don't know any of the characters either.
He kind of stood out to me, not because like, oh, the actor portraying him is so good. Like shout out to Iñaki Godoy, but like everybody was fine. But like this character is so just sweet and innocent and different than the rest. Like he stood out because he's so joyful and pure in his intentions. Like he really just loves to be a pirate. He just wants a crew so bad, and all this chaos is happening around him, but he just keeps that pure heart throughout everything. And I just found that really enjoyable. And he's always happy, and he's always eating, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I ate this thing and I just got these weird stretchy powers. It's fine. I'm not even worried about it. And that's just the kind of world that this story takes place in. And I thought that was fun, and it's weird and wacky, and it takes a little bit to get used to, but on the whole, the first episode hooked me. I will watch the second episode. But Russ, having watched the second episode, you said something before we went live that kind of makes me, it's kind of getting me back on the fence again, because you had thoughts about that one. I specifically watched the first one.
So,
Russ watched the first and second episodes.
So what I will say, coming out of the first episode, I did not like the show.
You didn't like it?
I did not. Luffy is the most annoying character on the planet. I dislike him so much, and I must be like a nihilist,
The cynic of the hosts.
I must just really just want love sorrow, but like his just like constant. Oh, he's so like the minute he said his whole name was like Luffy D Monkey. Whoa. Did you see that? That was a weird perfect timing.
Dude, that zoom was perfect. That was hilarious.
Whatever. The minute he said his full name of Luffy D Monkey, I went, "Oh my god, you're right. He does look like a monkey." And he's so annoying.
In ways, he's got monkey properties.
He's so annoying. He's so annoying.
That's what initially I was like, I'm gonna hate this. This is not gonna be my thing. But I stuck with it, and he kind of grew on me a little bit. I kind of found him a little bit charming at the end.
So I was like, dude, like, no, I'm gonna watch the second one because I'm gonna do it for the show. I was gonna do it. I'm doing it for Comics All in Mode. I'm gonna watch the second episode.
It's homework. It's got to be done.
Exactly. That's literally what I thought. I'm like, this is homework. And I watched the second episode, and I am actually into this show now.
Oh, the second episode. I was thinking the opposite.
The second episode actually pulled me in because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Do you meet the dude with the green hair and the samurai swords in the first episode?
Yeah, dude's got 3 samurai swords, and somehow he makes it work.
So you meet him in the first, but you get to you start really meeting him in the second. And then there's
Zoro.
Zoro. And yeah, exactly. Right. And then there's another character that you meet that also shows up in that second episode. And both of them are obviously going to be mainstays going forward.
Okay.
I like both of those characters 10 billion times more than Luffy, and I think they're actually all of the characters, and that's the one thing I will say is like, and that's why I'm going to stick with it, is all of the characters are very interesting, and I'm very interested in all of these characters. Mm-hmm. Even the villains that are going to be like hunting them, I think are very interesting.
They've all got something that is just so. It's their base trait. It's like the thing that they are, like you got Zoro. He's like the really moody, edgy one all the time. That's just, he's on edge mode all the time. Luffy's always happy. The one I didn't really, Kobe, his sidekick, he's like the shy, meek one. The only one I didn't really get a sense of was like the girl. I think her name's Nami. I got IMDb up. She's deceptive and sneaky, but pink-haired one didn't really have a personality. I felt like blonde one.
Yeah, I liked her in the second one. I think she's gonna be a really interesting character. Dude, the pink-haired kid in the first episode, I was like, what? Yeah. And Coke bottle glasses, the nerd.
Oh yeah, his sidekick.
Yes, I was very scared on what that character was going to be like. So I was like, I don't like either of these characters. I don't like this main character.
In it a ton. He's just kind of there.
He's not. But like, I was like, I don't like either of these characters. Like, when are they going to introduce a character that I do like? But episode 2 absolutely did that. So
cool.
I was very excited about
one more quick touch on One Piece was, and I wrote this down in the notes for the day. I was like, man, I got some of those early Pirates of the Caribbean nostalgia vibes, seeing the cannons going on.
Okay, but weirdly enough, same.
Oh no, I got huge Pirates of the Caribbean vibes, and like the first Pirates, like the masterpiece everybody loves,
Black Girl, one of the best
Black
films,
Girl vibes,
one of the best films.
It is probably the best. I will concede it is the best Pirates film. It was the first one, and
It's also
like right
just a
off the
really
bat,
good film outside of it.
it's great. And that's what I like about this show. Like the world building, the pirates, like they go all in on it. Even down to the costumes and the ships, everything's got a clear, unique design. Great stuff. And it kind of does still have that Netflix cheapiness quality to it. But I thought this was a lot of fun, and I love being on the high seas and the cannons going off and the swords. I didn't dig the female pirate captain that Kobe and the you introduce our characters on the ship. A little too campy for me. But overall, I just like the aesthetic of the show. I like the setting. Really gave me Pirates of the Caribbean vibes. And before I kind of latched onto the show, I was like, should I just turn this off right now and go watch Curse of the Black Pearl? I mean, should I? I could. I have the time, but I stuck with it.
It's campy. It's very campy.
It's definitely campy.
But that's one of the things. One of the things that I like about, and I don't know why, Zorro, is that his character is less so. His character balances out Luffy, especially in the second episode, very well.
They're just total polar opposites, but they're both the extremes of that thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep watching this show. I'm very interested in it. It looks like, you know, Netflix has really taken its time and taken care with this to a point that, like, I know, like, looking forward, I know a lot of people have been very, very scared about Netflix, The Last Airbender.
This should hopefully put some of those concerns at ease, because and again, speaking as somebody who doesn't even know the original anime, I thought this was fine. This was cool.
Yeah. So you know, everybody, you know, watch one. If you're worried about The Last Airbender, the live action version, watch Netflix One Piece, and I think you will. I think your mind will be set at ease, because they are really taking care to make these faithful to the thing. Now,
we'll see.
Taking a step to something that half the time it feels like the organization does not care about taking anything faithful when it comes to this brand. It's we're going to talk Star Wars.
Disney Star Wars.
We're going to talk Disney Star Wars, which half the time it's like they're pulling it straight out their rear end, and the other half the time it feels like they
give me that money. Give me that Star Wars money, baby. I don't care what we put out. Let's just get that Star Wars cash.
So let's we're gonna burst the bubble right off the bat, because that way we can talk about it and kind of go backwards. But
big spoilers.
We're gonna go back to front on this episode. So the episode ends with Ashoka seemingly dying, and she ends up.
Get that zoom in. We need the zoom in there.
In the world between worlds, which was a concept set up in Rebels.
Star Wars Rebels. Another Dave Filoni thing. He's the showrunner on this, so he's definitely infusing all of his ideas and trying to tie in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And so she is in there, and then all of a sudden you hear this, "Hey, Snips," which, if you're any type of Star Wars fan, new Star Wars fan, you'll know that Snips is the nickname that Anakin gave Ahsoka when
this character was introduced in the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And Anakin called her Snips as a little, kind of as a jab initially, but it grew as a term of endearment as the two became closer and struck up like a friendship and master apprentice, that kind of thing.
Anakin's back. We see him turn around. Now, interestingly enough, I do want to bring this up, because I saw a tweet that it was like, gets hate for not de-aging Anakin in Kenobi.
There's no winning.
Gets hate for de-aging Anakin in Clone War or in Ahsoka.
It's not Hayden Christensen's fault. It's just
it's not, because he's old. Like,
so indecisive and split. It's just crazy. It's honestly
But
kind of funny, actually.
I actually kind of wish
Which
they
side do
had.
you fall on?
I wanted the. I didn't want the. I don't care about the age part.
Yeah,
I
just leave
really
him
don't.
alone. He's
I
fine.
should
It's
like
Anakin. All we want is
literally.
Hades.
I didn't even. I noticed that he was older, but I was like, okay, I get what they're doing here. Like, I don't care that much.
Yeah,
Like,
he's like what,
I,
40? He's not even that
yeah. So
changed that much. Leave the guy
I
alone. It's almost
especially
insulting.
okay. Also, especially like she's seeing a force ghost of him. Like, fine. Like, like it
Yeah,
doesn't really matter.
at this point he is 40 when he
Also,
dies.
like,
He's
also
Jedi.
let's be honest. Also, let's be honest.
What are you
Him with the
doing?
hair down and the Clone Wars getup is much easier to work with without his face de-aged than him looking like a Padawan with the whole Padawan braid. Like, if you're gonna de-age, fine, de-age him when he's supposed to be a Padawan in
Right.
Kenobi flashbacks, and then in this, you just leave him alone. Don't touch him.
I think it's weird.
It's
I'm just
weird.
happy he's back. I'm
I'm
just
just
happy
happy
that
he's back too. I think this is gonna be amazing. We did hear the Darth Vader
the Fiend,
music.
yeah.
So there's a lot of speculation on that. I have no speculation whatsoever because I don't know. Star Wars is not one of like I can speculate on Star Wars with the best of them, but like to a point, there's like a point of me of like, okay, I don't know enough on this to really like care
The
enough that I want to do it. So
yeah. I'm the total opposite. I've got thoughts. We got to wrap up the episode soon, but the one thing I will say about Ahsoka, I think it's a good step in the right direction for Star Wars. You know, we've been talking about how the fandom split. People either want de-age or not. You know, people like Disney Star Wars. People want the old legend stuff back. One thing that a lot of us can agree on is like the prequels are cool now. Deal with it. It is what it is. The Clone Wars was great. Filoni's got a cool storytelling style. A lot of people love his stuff. And Hayden Christensen embodies all of that thought process. I mean, the man
yeah,
is Anakin Skywalker. He is now also Darth Vader, as a Kenobi show, you know, brought him fully into both roles. And it's great to see him back, and it's great to see him interact with live action Ahsoka. That floored me in the fact that he called her Snips. I hope that's not in the dialogue too much. I hope that's just a slight nod to the relationship from Clone Wars. I would rather not have that term.
no, and I don't think he's gonna call her Snips moving forward
Probably
because he
not.
knows that she's not a kid anymore.
Yeah, she's a
Um,
full-grown Jedi at this
yeah,
point, like adult.
like it makes sense. It makes sense for his introduction though. It makes sense
It
of like
does, and I
because
liked
she
it
is
because
not
it was used that way.
because she's not expecting him there. First off, she
Mhm.
was not expecting to be in the world between worlds. Obviously, she's like looking around like, wait, why am
She's
I
like,
back
"Oh, I'm back
here?
here now.
And
How
then
this
two,
happen?"
like, yeah,
Which
and then two, like, then all of a sudden she hears, "Hey, Snips," and that like is that instant trigger. That's also a trigger too because like the last time she spoke to Anakin, she was fully grown, but he was Darth Vader,
yeah,
and
last time
so
she saw Anakin was, I mean,
I think
canonically at this point, Vader.
that's a
Which I
way
think
for him to disarm her by like, hey, I'm not Vader. But also I think
yeah,
that's not entirely true. I think this is probably I do think this is probably Anakin right as he changed sides, like right in the middle of episode 3, or even like right after he talked to Palpatine, like
right,
before
right.
his fight with Obi-Wan, but after he kills all the little kids.
Okay, yeah. It's definitely episode 3 Anakin, just from the
Yeah,
look, the hair, you know, he's got his lightsaber, which is kind of weird. My theory as to what's going on here, there's two trains of thought that I really like and really jive with what Dave Filoni is known for, what he's created, what he's brought to the Star Wars lore, and that is that Anakin is now the new father of the Mortis gods, which is harkening back to a 3-episode run from the Clone Wars in like season 4, maybe. It's widely regarded as one of the best arcs in the Clone Wars, the Mortis arc. It's where Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan traveled to this planet of the Force, and there's basically these Force gods. You have the father, you have the son, and the daughter. And at that point, a lot of stuff goes down. Not going to get into it now. Ahsoka was actually brought back to life by the power of the daughter. She has the power of the daughter, the Mortis god, in her. And the father, his goal was to get Anakin to replace him.
Right.
And spoiler alert, in that arc, the father dies, the son is set free, which is a metaphor for the dark side's reemergence and the burgeoning empire. Like Palpatine is at full strength. The son is the embodiment of the dark side. And what I think is happening here is when Anakin died, he did bring balance to the Force, but he was also made the new caretaker of Mortis, the planet of the Force, which is somehow tied into the world between worlds. So basically, he is now the new father, the new caretaker of this realm, whatever this is. It was a lot of gray area, world between worlds. I don't know how Ahsoka plays into that, but it's very cool to see both of them back together. I'm very excited for this week's episode. Actually, tomorrow is when it drops. So I'm having some people over to watch it. We're going to have a good time.
Nice. Yeah, it's 49 minutes long. I'm amazed you didn't decide to try to go. I'm amazed you didn't try to go see it in theaters.
I heard that it was coming to theaters, but longtime listeners of our show will know that Russ and I frequent a church function for young adults, so that the porch is happening tomorrow. Definitely can't miss that. I love the porch, man. But immediately afterwards, it's Star Wars time, baby. What's going on here? Dave Filoni, what are you cooking? He actually directed the episode 2, so everything lines up to this is going to be a banger. This is going to be a game changer for Star Wars. Hopefully it'll unite rather than separate, because we do not need more separation in this fandom. Anything else about Ahsoka, quick, that you wanted to cover?
Oh, the other big kind of reveal and like twist that happened in this episode was Sabine Wren decided to hand over the space map to Skull Balaam, and then he destroyed it, and then he's taking Sabine with him.
Mm-hmm. She joined him. She's like, "Hey,"
he's like, all right, because he promises her. He promises her. He's like, "Hey, I will bring Ezra back,
right,
and we will both get what we want." I think this twist.
Will he keep his promise?
I think this twist is a very interesting twist, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. I'm very excited that they didn't just take like the coward's way out and play it safe. Like this is a very risky move on their part to do.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think it's great. I think it works. It works for Sabine's character. It makes sense. Like it makes sense that she would have gone the other way too. Like that's the coolest part too, is like this is a gamble that they are taking by also saying like, hey, but this is also like this is pretty on brand with this character. Like this character could totally see her doing this.
Yeah, especially because the master apprentice relationship that she has with Ahsoka is a bit tumultuous at this point. There's a little bit of conflict there. Something happened between now and the end of Rebels. I don't know. The time frame is kind of messed up.
No. So that was also confirmed. I told you that there was a theory.
They changed it. This is now the definitive version of that.
That is the definitive Rebels, essentially.
But Sabine's a very interesting character. At this point, she's willing to do whatever it takes to get Ezra back. Because that's her love. She will do anything for him. And it harkens back to Anakin's decision to do whatever it took to save Padme's life. And, of course, our boy's back at the end of this episode. So sacrifice, how far are you willing to go for your loved ones? Bit of a major theme going on here that I see. And I love it when... Sorry.
No, sorry. It's definitely to me, it's more of a brother-sister relationship than it is like an actual, like.
Could be. She still loves him. She sees this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Ezra is so important to her. She will go to the ends of the earth or the edge of the galaxy, right, to save this guy. And that's what I was talking about with Peaky Blinders earlier. A good story, your characters make decisions. It's not just the easy way, whether you're Tommy Shelby or Sabine Wren or Ahsoka Tano, you make decisions, and that takes the story in very interesting directions. They could have taken the easy route and have her been like, no, I'm a hero. I'm not going to trust you, you villain.
Yeah.
No, she was like, take me to Ezra right now. And now they're off. And like you said, they destroyed the map. We have no idea how our heroes are gonna get to that galaxy. Thrawn's still in play somewhere out there. And Ahsoka's now trapped in the world between worlds. So there's a lot going on here. Like, this series is moving. We have, I think,
you also you made the correction this week that it is 8. It's not 6. Which
it is 8. I'm excited.
It gave me much. I was like, thank God. I was much more happy about that, because that has always been the problem with these.
So there's 4 more episodes, right?
Yeah. With these 6-episode shows, is that you don't get big reveals until episode 4, and then everything is smashed into 5 and 6. And in this case, we're getting, like, it's very obvious tomorrow's episode is going to be the shifter. Like, this,
it's going to be a big shift.
This thing is going to
changing,
turn the whole story on its head. Very excited to kind of see what that's like.
I love Hera. I love the
Hera's
character.
great. Hera's great. I mean, I've seen articles. I saw articles which was really funny. It's like, thank God Ahsoka fixed one of the awful, most scary looking animated versions of a character ever in The Kid. Because if you ever go back, if you go and watch Rebels and you look at Jason, Hera's child, he's there for like maybe an episode. But it is the scariest animated. That could be the next Chucky doll.
Abomination.
Like, that could be the next Chucky. It is scary as hell. And so I'm very excited. Like, it was so funny watching. Just like,
he's in the show too. Like,
watching people's reactions.
I can't believe they brought him in.
Chopper
I didn't think
is great. They've done a great job with Chopper.
Chopper. I love the droid, Ahsoka's droid, who was also introduced in Clone Wars. He's like a friend of the Jedi. He knows the lightsaber techniques and the building structures of the sabers. Hu Yang is just awesome. I'm definitely, I'm a collector, right? Eventually I'll change all this up, but I'm gonna get the Hu Yang action figure when he comes out, man. I love Hu Yang. David Tennant also. Why do they keep getting the most talented actors to be mocap like droid characters? You got Alan Tudyk with K2SO with Rogue One. You got David Tennant with Hu Yang. These are prestige actors, and they're just like not even. They're just voice, which is fine. I love the character, but like, man, David Tennant's so great too. It's like, but I'm very excited about the show. Like I said, I think it's a great step in the right direction for Star Wars. I love, one of my favorite things about the show, quickly, and then we'll wrap up, is the 2 Darksiders. I don't care whether they're Dark Jedi, they're not Sith. I don't really care what they are. They're
tactically they are. So that was something I read today, I think, actually, was that the term Sith wasn't created until a certain amount of time. And so that in the beginning, Dark Jedi was the term for the Sith until George Lucas came up with the word Sith. So technically, these guys are Sith, but I do understand where it's like, it feels like there should be like a full doctrine change if you turn Sith and turn Sith.
Sith is a very specific term. They're not Sith, but
Balin is not a Sith. Like, he is still very.
That's a certain level of power.
He has such an interesting thought, like an ideology, that it's very, like, every time he talks, I'm very interested to hear what he has to say and why he believes what he's about to say.
Like, he witnessed all of the Jedi. He knows Anakin. He seems to be able. He's able to pick apart Ahsoka like she's nothing.
He seems to know. He seems to know that Anakin is Vader,
Vader, yeah.
Which that is a canon break because most of Star Wars has been canon breaks, but like in the beginning there were literally like two people that knew that Anakin was Darth Vader. It was Obi-Wan and it was wasn't it the dude that took in Leia?
Oh, Bail. Yeah, Bail. Senator Bail Organa.
Yeah,
he knew.
Yeah. Organa and
Yoda knew.
Yoda. Like those, like
Tarkin,
anybody that was like
Tarkin figured it out. Thrawn figured it out on his own.
True.
There's a couple people.
But like,
I like.
It's interesting that Balin figured it out. Yes.
Balin, we don't know how he figured it out. Maybe he just. There is a novel. I will say this: it's like how deep into the lore.
Rise.
How deep do we want to discuss Dark Jedi or whatever? There was a novel that came out. I think it's called Bloodlines. Yes. Leia is the main character. It's about the New Republic and her place and all that. And there's a big scandal that breaks because people find out that Vader was Leia's father. I don't remember how it goes down. It was different political leaders vying for power and everything, and this story breaks. Now I don't remember whether or not Anakin Skywalker's name comes up, but Vader at this point, it could be well known that Vader is the father of Luke and Leia, but that still doesn't answer like how does Vader know what's going on. Hopefully,
at the end of the day, I don't care all that much.
Honestly, me neither. I mean, he survived Order 66, and you know,
it's just an interesting question. And like that's the other thing is like it makes sense that Ahsoka would know because of her tie to Anakin, so she knows
she saw him.
But like even like to that point, like it took her a long time to fully
accept it,
allow herself to accept the fact that he was. So, but
I love that. That's such a rich conflict.
Yeah, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the show. That's the show. I know the only person is watching right now is me, so we'll get hopefully we can get more of you guys to come watch. This will be up in podcast form. This episode will go up in podcast form tomorrow. So if you didn't catch us on the video, it will be up tomorrow morning on the Apple Podcasts, the Spotify podcasts, and anywhere you find your podcasts.
And apparently, because of our tech test, you can just watch this right now on YouTube as well, right?
Yes.
Because we record live and then it's on YouTube. So,
yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm apparently I'm having to teach Landon what YouTube's like. So it's
been a while since I jumped back into it. You mentioned YouTube Studio yesterday. I'm like, man, I have not touched Studio in like 2 years.
It's okay. You can be a boomer.
Probably
it's all right.
No, I love the fact that we record this and boom, it's right there. We can share it. We're gonna be more active on socials. We don't have to edit.
The quality right now, guys, is kind of meh. Again, we're slowly but surely figuring a lot of this stuff out on the streaming side.
720p, a strong 720p right now.
Strong 720p. So we'll figure it out. And you guys have a great rest of your week. Hopefully this was a good start to the week. That's kind of why it's actually fun for me that it's on Mondays, because I feel like this is a fun way to start the week. After
what happened last week, what's coming this week.
Exactly. And also, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your night. And I'm going to try to play this outro music. I know I shouldn't probably tell people I'm hitting the outro music as we're hitting the outro music, but peace out.
See you guys.